the walls. Usually the walls are the first thing they put on the house. If you could make a big change, what would you do? I would change área de serviços. I would change the backyard. Do you have a garden? No. You have a vegetable garden? Yes. What did you feel? What did you feel that was lacking in the original construction? And they all say laje e piso. That means they they think that having a concrete laje, how do you say a laje? A slab, a concrete slab, as a ceiling, so you can eventually build on top of a second floor. They feel that is very important. I think this is a misunderstanding of even the place they live. This is something very cultural, to have this laje. What is the best thing in this residential complex? To be the owner. What is the worst? The distance. It's too far away from the town. What do you think of safety? There's no safety, there's no public safety, according to him. Privacy exists if the house is completely fenced. Transportation. There's no public transportation within the city limits, but there's public transportation outside the city. Leisure. Yeah, hard to read here, but let's see. In existence, there's a tiny little soccer camp made by the residents. Nature, there's no green, there's no nature, no trees, no nothing. Public service. What exists is far from the city. They have public, how do you say, trash collecting. Mailman and the health community health agents. These are the typical answers to get an idea. What do you think we should include in this questionnaires?
What do you mean, Marcelo?
Like, what's another question that you would like to have an answer to in that?
Any information?
Yeah.
Oh, that was him reading.
Yeah.
That's a question.
Yeah, that's a question. You always ask, what should we have asked? So, are you still there?
But that they have a kitchen, living area, and a dining area all together in a small room. That drives them crazy.
It drives them crazy?
Yeah, the first thing that they do when they have money is to make a huge kitchen on the backyard with the dining area. And they have the living area separated from the kitchen and dining area. So it's not that they don't like the kitchen integrated with the living area. It's just that they are squeezed in a...
It's too small.
Yeah, on a very small place. And so it's a cultural thing to cook and to have people with you on the same area.
Yeah.
But not when they have visitors. Then they move to a living area. and they don't want to have the kitchen mingle with the space. What else? What else would you like to?
What? I think our connection's not very good.
Can you listen? Okay.
But one of the things, a couple of things I'd like to know is, because they're not feeling safe yet, I want to know how we can publicize information that we're learning without making anyone feel vulnerable. Like we videotaped today, but maybe we don't post the videos. What do you think?
I asked them several times if they had any problem of being recorded or having their images and information posted on this on the Facebook, and they said they were okay with that.
Okay.
I think it's important for people that are participating in the proposals to understand that safety is an issue, not to.
We don't want to exploit them, and we want to make sure that they're really ready to have what they say go public.
Yeah, because I think, we need to be able to respond to those conditions. So. But
we are trying to give them some, a voice so we can learn from them.
Yeah.
But we don't want to be too invasive. We want to, we have to grow some, trust. And so I think they understood clearly what we can do. And they understood that they can benefit in a bigger or a smaller scale. The idea of scale seems to be very clear to them.
Okay.
Except that they don't know exactly what they are looking for.
Yeah.
So, and what did you think of this, the whole meeting?
Why don't you guys answer?
I thought it went well. There was some very informative answers that were shocking to me in a good way, meaning that like I learned something from it, which is great. And I think that what's great is that I feel as though this was a great success as far as like getting the conversation going, which is good. It's really important to have them continually, oh, I did this today and I thought to myself, it would be great if this were different type of thing, But I feel as though that, like, us introducing ourselves and then them coming back and introducing themselves and also then the few questions, I felt as though it was really informative and useful. There wasn't one question that didn't have a response that I didn't feel was helpful.
Would it make sense if we, as a group, summarize some of the key points that we thought we heard today and post those?
Yeah.
Because if this is about some kind of a collective art and design process that we're sharing, we're building on collective intelligence, then it might help us, because if Michael heard something different than Nicholas heard, or if Kevin heard something different than you heard, maybe we think of things differently. Does that make
I
sense?
think that's an awesome idea. What we could do maybe is, I'm on the Facebook group now, I'll open a new discussion that's like, first Skype conversation, and then everyone just like, as we kind of collect this in our heads, we'll just go and post things that we kind of learned today and share and discuss and talk and ask more questions and So we keep on interacting, and it will be good for those who aren't able to make it either.
It's kind of like public meeting minutes.
Like
And then-
public meeting minutes, yeah. And I think something that I heard that's kind of shocking, but I think it's the reality of our times, is this issue about fear and this issue about how our social lives are changing. And I think these notions of solutions, we have got to come up as a world and societies for solutions for this, or we're going to have a really screwed up future. So I think these are urgent issues from everywhere, from the Gaza Strip to parts of Chicago to, all over the world.
Yes.
This living in fear and isolation coupled with, well-being and getting stuck on the computer or TV, but being able to still have a relationship with nature and socializing.
I thought it was really impressive when, I don't remember her name, the lady that had 3 sons, Hosanna, when she said that one of her kids used to go to the uncle's house for when he wasn't in school, but he stopped doing that because he liked watching TV, his uncle liked watching TV, and they couldn't agree to watch together. So he stays at home. So it's like, their whole interaction is sitting in front of the TV to watch it. And because they can't get to an agreement, they just like, I'll stay at my house and stay yours and we'll watch. I thought that was like, really, and then he's what, 8 years old?
Yeah, but it's no different than Chicago, where kids have a single parent and their parent works, and they're called latchkey kids. I mean, they're kids that grow up with a key around their neck, and they come home from school and they let themselves in the house, and it's a pretty common thing. But some of
It
them,
happens in every class, right?
Yeah.
Even, upper class kids are stuck in the computer the whole day. It's like you said, it's a problem worldwide, but it's just incredible to see, to see, like my parents would kick me out of home, like, go play,
yeah, some of my kids call themselves house babies, and they slowly become fearful to go outside. Some of the fear is real, I think, in neighborhoods, and some of the fear then becomes compounded by lack of familiarity with
Kind of
going
like
outside.
if I grew up
It's like
staying in my house out
catch-22.
of fear, when I grow up, even though maybe that fear goes away, I still stay at home.
With patterns and habits.
It's habits building, yeah.
Some of the kids I've worked with through the years, when I would have them try to design public spaces together or different kinds of things, they don't necessarily go outside, so it's hard. You have to almost take them through processes that help them think and experience things differently before they can design something that might be pleasurable for their outdoor spaces.
Yeah, I think the key word was like culture has been lost, and culture doesn't happen by yourself. It kind of happens with people, interaction, social. So I think if we were to break down culture into daily culture and like non-daily culture, I think we can approach this culture being lost effect in different ways. So in terms of daily, we can create a space that creates better conversation and stuff like that in private space. And if it's non-daily, then we can have like some kind of like a festival. Festivals are a perfect example of like how culture is maintained in non-daily life. Like soccer sports could be a daily, and it could be a non-daily thing too. So, I think it was big that the religious thing too, the church. So that is a non-daily. It's affecting ourselves and subconsciously daily, but non-daily in terms of going to church service. Like maybe after church service, maybe there could be like a market, like a flea market or like some market that people kind of go because they have sense of like togetherness by going to the church themselves, and then maybe after that they can have socialized because they have this coherent idea of what the church service was. I don't know. I think the approach to preserving culture in like daily way and non-daily way, I think that'd be kind of interesting to do.
Yeah, that was another thing that stuck in my mind. The whole what Neza, she said that she's been living there for a year, and she didn't like it in the beginning, and then the church was built, and now she's starting
Yeah.
to like it because she feels that there's a sense of community in that church because they go and they have this prayer rooms, and it's beyond the faith. It's really about,
Yeah.
I think, the sense